I was initially going to do this yesterday on the way to return something to a store, and got sidetracked, of course. So we're doing it this morning on the way to work after watching I think it was a training. The school district and the behavioral health, mental health place that they have a contract with for our insurance is allowing trainings on all kinds of stuff, sometimes just focused on the individual and sometimes focused on how we can learn something for our students. It's a mix of things. And they're free, and they're an hour and a half, and they count for the continuing education, and some of them have been really interesting. Sorry, this is pollen. The pollen counts right now are out of control, but I digress. Anyway, this one, I mean, it was about brain health, and there's a lot that's not known about the brain, and so it can be hard because sometimes you'll hear things and then like a year later it's completely flipped because they found something else. And there's always that question and answer at the end and all of this, and we started getting into physical health, like overall physical health, because your physical health 100% has to do with how your brain is functioning. If you're not sleeping right, if you're not eating right, if you're overweight or doing drugs, or all these different things will affect your brain, absolutely. Not having the right nutrients and, on and on and on and on. 100% has to do with how healthy your brain is. But then she started going into, realize she's an equine therapist, so she uses horses for therapy, which I love and I just can't afford, but it's amazing. But she was talking about going to a functional medicine doctor, which I do believe in, because I think a doctor who can do that is way better than a limited one. But they're not covered under insurance, so it can become really, really, really expensive. And she's done all of these other things and all of these tests about the toxins that are inside of her, which we all have, and it started going off into the not necessarily experimental, but the not necessarily backed by independent research. A lot of this stuff is still more in the anecdotal phase, which does not mean it's wrong. Realize, I'm not saying that any of this is wrong. A lot of stuff that's anecdotal is actually legitimate. Nobody has spent the money to do a study on it because studies take money, and a lot of places aren't willing to fork over the money for actually fixing things, not just masking things or here's this. And this is where my whole point is, it is so subjective. She started listing all of these things that are bad for women. Don't do. And I was absolutely horrified because she was wrong. Because here's the thing. Not one thing out there based on men, because realize all the studies are based on men, the metrics are based on men, everything's based on men. So those who say this diet works and this exercise works and this whatever works, not only didn't take into account women, but didn't take into account our cycles and our hormones. Absolutely 100% true. But, here's the big giant but that is just driving me insane. And I tried typing it into the chat, and I don't think anybody read it because I was so pissed. So she's saying all these things are wrong and don't do them, and that's not right. Some of these are going to work for some women. A mix of them. So she was talking about keto, don't do it. Intermittent fasting, don't do it. All of these other things, don't do them. They're bad for women. They don't take into account our hormones. That is correct. The studies that they have done and all of this that they have done on this did not account for time of month, menopause, postmenopause, premenopause, all this stuff they did not account for in their data sets. I will totally give her that. But it doesn't mean it's bad, and it doesn't mean it's wrong. And that's what was driving me absolutely insane. How dare she? How dare she tell a group of 500 people This was not, okay, it wasn't just women, but 500 people. Don't do this, it's bad. It is not bad. Not bad. It just may not work. And the data doesn't necessarily support how to make it work for women. But it doesn't mean it's bad. And here's why. Mostly protein. Not carnivore, not Atkins, not keto, but mostly protein is what I eat. I have dropped over 60 pounds. Because I'm eating that way. Clearly for me and my body, that works. And it works really well. Really, really well. But I don't adhere to the keto. I don't adhere to a diet. I see how I feel after I eat something. I know that I can't do a lot of carbs. I know that I can't, and I love bread. I love bread. I love sourdough. I do eat it. Don't get me wrong. I don't not eat what I want. I'm just careful about it. There's nothing better than a big crunchy loaf of French bread and you just, like when it's hot and you're just pulling it apart and eating it. Yeah, I'm not going to not do that, but I don't do it every day. I don't do it all the time. I don't eat the entire loaf, not anymore. I am more careful about what I do and how I do it. I don't not eat cookies. I don't not eat ice cream. I don't not eat cake. I do eat them, but I have smaller portion sizes. And I don't do it very often because I don't feel good the next day. Too much sugar, I just don't feel good anymore. But I'm not going to stop myself from having an Oreo, red velvet piece of cake, big old bowl of ice cream, a Talenti gelato. I love gelato. I'm not going to not do that. I will do it once, like one night, on the weekend, in the middle of the week, doesn't even matter when, so the timing doesn't seem to matter. But I'm only going to do it that once. I'm not going to do it day after day after day after day because I don't feel good. I feel really ill. And my immune system gets worse. When I was having a rough patch in January because a family thing had happened and it was like one after the other, some really significant, very bad things happened to family members that don't live near me. And when you get stressed, I get stressed and I reach for the ice cream because, that's what I've done for years. And not only did I feel like crap, oh my gosh, I felt horrible, but I got really sick. I got really, really sick. It was not good for my immune system. So telling all of these people that it's bad, and the intermittent fasting, there are legitimately people out there who have done their own, small studies of their own clients who have figured out how women in certain phases of their life and along with their hormonal patterns can do intermittent fasting. I tend to realize, over this last weekend, I wasn't feeling all that great, and so I just really didn't eat. And it wasn't until 5 in the afternoon, and I had some cottage cheese and nuts and I think a piece of fish or chicken strips. So I had, it was not a massive meal, but it wasn't until 5 or 6 in the evening. And then I did the same thing on Sunday. I felt a little bit better. Realized the pollen is absolutely killing me. Where I was on my spring break and I was coming back to school, and so I was depressed about having to go back to work because I loved my, having the time off and not having all of the stress of what happens when you're a teacher. So I'm not surprised I wasn't feeling very good. And I dropped 7 pounds because that's intermittent fasting. Not eating for nearly the entire day after not eating. I think the last meal I had was 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on Friday, the last thing I had to eat. And then I didn't eat anything until the next 5 or 6, so a 12-hour thing. And I dropped a ton of weight because, stress and cortisol keeps it. When you're stressed, your body holds on to all of that because it's thinking that, you might need to run away from enemies or something. I don't know. Our wiring, our ancient wiring kind of messes us up when it comes to modern life. Anyway, so the things, so, and there were several things that she talked about. These are just the two, like, at the top of my head, that were all like this, that she was saying, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, because you are not right. And that's the whole thing that I'm trying to do with this wellness that I'm on, that this journey that I've taken, is that there is nothing bad. It just may not be right for you. If you find extra energy and feeling better and life is great and you're eating nothing but rabbit food and you've gone full on vegan, more power to you. I don't know how you do it, and bless your heart, I could not. But if that works for you and you're feeling better and you're sleeping better and you're losing the weight and you can move better, that means that is what your body needs in order to be okay. If you need a mix, a Mediterranean, if you need something that is that you figure out yourself, like I can have this kind of carb, but I can't have this kind of carb. Like if you're getting down to that kind of specific, I can have this green, but I can't have that green. It's okay. It's okay to not follow anybody else's diet, which is one thing that I've never been able to do, because all of these diets that I've looked at, I don't think I've ever subscribed to one, but I've looked at a lot of them, and they have all of these foods that I just don't eat. I don't like peppers. I don't like bell peppers. They don't like me either. It's not just, we have a mutual stay away. I hate pickles. Loathe them. I cannot stand pickles at all, in any way, of any kind. The special sauces in fast foods that have relish in them are barely tolerable, and there are times where I will actually scrape them off. I don't like pickles at all. There's a lot of stuff like that I just don't like, and so your diet is not going to work for me, because I am not going to eat that. I'm not incredibly picky, but when you're talking about a pre-planned diet meal, or they give you ingredients that you don't have and are not expensive, but you don't have these, and you'd have to go out and buy them, as opposed to looking at what you normally do, what you normally eat, what you normally intake. What can I get rid of that's really not healthy for me? Living on nothing but bread and crackers, not healthy. Living off of nothing but junk food, not healthy. Microwaved meals, not healthy. There's a lot of different kinds of things that are just not good, that you can just start removing little things out of. Sodas, get rid of sodas. Caffeine, watch your caffeine intake. Caffeine can interact not only with medications, but with herbs and if you use essential oils, but things like that. So if you take herbal supplements or you have certain kinds of medication, caffeine can absolutely affect those and can tweak them and turn it into something that's not healthy, or it can literally just obliterate its usefulness. And so now you're drinking caffeine and taking this supplement, and you're just wasting money, because the caffeine is going to stop it from being absorbed. There's all kinds of that information that you just have to pay attention to. So yeah, I'm kind of up in arms, and I'm kind of pissed. It's just, it's so frustrating when people who have knowledge use it incorrectly, or they have a little bit of knowledge, or they take what they've read, like that everything is based on men. Absolutely. Everything is based on men. They're just now starting to go back and find this out, but it does not mean it's wrong. It does not mean it's bad, and it does not mean don't do it. You need to do what's best for you, and you need to do what's right for you, for what your body is. Within a week of me cutting out everything except straight protein, I felt so good. I felt so good. And I was thinking clearer, and it was such a night and day. When you find the right thing for your body, it is going to be so noticeable. So noticeable. And then you start adding a little bit of things in. So this is how I realized I have to be careful about the type of carb that I eat, and how much, and how many days in a row. So like the sugar thing, I can have I have the little, the Oreo packs that have the 2 Oreos in them. I can have one of those a day, maybe 2 days, pushing 3 in a row, I can't really do much after that because that's too much sugar too consistently. I can absolutely pig out and have a whole thing of Talenti gelato. And I will say I did do that one day, and that was all I ate that entire day because I knew that the calorie and carb count were going to be through the roof. And guess what? By the end of the day, I felt so crappy. I literally sat down with a bowl of mixed nuts and some beef jerky to get some protein in my body because I felt so bad. So bad. And that did help. It helped because that's how my body works. And that's how you need to do it. Find a plan and do it. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just, give yourself a time. Only eat in that plan what you like. Don't force yourself to eat something you don't like. If you want to try keto, go through the keto. You can type this into an AI. Go through the keto. This is what I don't like. Give me a basic thing. And calories. You do need to count calories. Eating too much of anything, even healthy stuff, you have more calories. Yeah, that's another thing. So not only did I figure out what my body needed, I figured out how much my body needed. And it's okay to feel hungry. You don't need to eat until you actually are like stuffed. That's probably a little too much. Figure out how much and what. Stick with it religiously for a couple of weeks. If you don't feel better, then it's not right for you. Go to something else. Eventually, you will figure out what the base of what it is that you need to eat to make you feel better is, and then you start adding some things back in here and there and just notice how you feel. That is my entire premise of owning your wellness. You own it. It is yours. Don't listen to a doctor about how you should be feeling. Listen to yourself. How are you feeling about what it is you're eating, about what it is you're doing, about what it is you're consuming? What is your body telling you? It talks to you all the time. Listen to what it's saying. And when you try something, you do have to try things for a time. You can't just do it for like half a week. You should be able to notice something within a week if it's going to be better, but you may not necessarily have it all fixed in a week. Mine happened to be a week. If it's not a week for you, if it takes a couple of weeks for your body to readjust, it's okay. Listen to what your body is saying. If you're eating something and your body's like, okay, I feel better when I have that. Like I have a big, huge spinach salad with feta cheese and other stuff like that on it, and I feel good. But then I ate this later on and didn't feel quite as good. It can change from meal to meal. You just have to pay attention. And you just have to listen to what are the signals your body is giving you. And it does take a while. I'm not going to say this is an overnight thing. If you've never listened to what your body is saying to you, other than I don't feel good, I have a headache, the big things, I'm sick, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the smaller things where you realize, okay, that was not a good idea. Like I know people who drink coffee the entire day. Maybe your body is telling you that 4 o'clock in the afternoon cup of coffee isn't great, but you're so busy because you're wrapping up the end of the day that you're not quite hearing that. This is where you just start paying attention to what it is you're doing and the signals your body is giving you. And the more you listen, the stronger those signals become. And the easier it is to see when you have done something, you're like, oh, that was bad. That was bad. I bought a cake. I love tres leches, and I bought a tres leches cake. And then another time I am a sucker for cheesecake, and I bought the cheesecake after, and I tried to find small ones because it's just me. I'm not going to be sharing this. And oh my gosh, after like the second piece, I'm like, oh. I took that first bite of like the third piece, and my body's like, Julie, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, stop. And so you do have to listen to that kind of stuff. But yeah, now that I have this off my chest, I'll probably feel a little bit better. But the whole thing about owning your wellness, listen to what your body is saying. Pay attention to you. You know you better than anybody else, even if you don't know that you know you better than anybody else. I promise you, if you start paying attention, you will hear it, and it will become noticeable. And the more you listen to yourself about how you feel, the more you can make the right choices.